dream I know deep up my feelings for you. Watch.
Hello viewers, welcome back to this channel. Thank you all so much for joining us. The headlines: why terrorism persists despite huge budgetary allocations. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has justified. But before we comment fully with this news, welcome to Reality Latest Gist, your home of news and politics. Thank you all so much for joining us on today's news. If this is your first time of watching, please do us a favor to like and subscribe and also share. Don't forget to turn the notification bell to get notified when next we drop our video. You can send in your comments and keep the conversation lively in our conversation. To all our amazing subscribers, thank you all so much for joining us. The news: the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has justified why terrorism persists in the country despite the huge budgetary allocations the military receives annually. Musa spoke in an interview on Arise TV. He said that the military did not have enough equipment to fight the terrorists because year after year, not all the funds allocated to defense were released. General Musa Christopher also noted that civilians connived with all these terrorists and they support them with the supplies, and that has been frustrating the military's effort to end the war. On the rising defense budget and the raging insecurity, he said that there was a difference between what was budgeted and what was released. Recalled in 2024 appropriation bill, 3.25 trillion was budgeted for defense, while in 2023 defense got 2.98 trillion, representing 13.4% of the 21.8 trillion budgeted. But the Chief of Defense Staff stated that in the past, you will hear large sum of money approved by the military, but the question is, how much do they get? Of course, that's a very important question. Also, they don't manufacture any of the items they use. They buy them in dollars. So if you look at the amount released and you convert to dollar, how much is it? For instance, the $1 billion that was released in the past, the 12 Tucano fighter jets that were bought cost over $600 million. How much do you buy a mine-resistant ambush protector vehicles, armored personnel carriers, tanks, ships, aircraft? So you can find out that the money released, when you convert them to dollar, you can see that they're not even getting much. So every piece of ammunition they buy is in foreign currency, and they will buy them in billions because they use them quickly. Yes, they cannot get all they need. They're not saying that the government should give them everything, but at least those important stuff they needed at that moment, it should be provided for them. And those money they are quoting that they are going to release such allocation to them is not all they do give to them. That is what the General of the Chief of Defense Staff is saying. The President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has signed the bill for the Defense Industrial Corporation of Nigeria, and they must produce what they need. Even with the money, they cannot buy most of the equipment they need off the shelf. So they have to order for them and wait before they get them, and that takes time. So it is when the industrial complex comes on stream and they start producing what they need, that will be a lot better for them, and they will continue to move. And as much as they get the equipment, they will continue to push the work forward. On how convenience by some Nigerians had undermined the effort of the military, Christopher said that they appeal to all Nigerians to cooperate. Security is everybody's responsibility. He gave his challenge while in the Northeast, saying that in some places, they will find out that there are people even supporting them, that is the terrorists, giving them equipment and food every day. They fight them to stop taking to them fertilizer, urea, and things that could make them fix improvised explosion device. So it's a challenging thing to them. They have Nigerians that are also doing so much to trade with them, carrying fuel and food to them. If they all pull together and stop these things, they will not survive. So it's a holistic thing, and not only for the armed forces alone. This is not an armed forces war. This is a Nigeria war, and they want Nigeria to take ownership of it. Speaking on when Nigeria should expect an end to the terrorism, he said that this is an elephant in the room. So his advice is that no country should allow terrorism to start because it is difficult to eradicate, because the center of gravity of the terrorists is their ideology and their ideology in their mind. So changing the mindset is what they required. He also called on opinion leaders not to play the gallery by making untrue comments that could excite the terrorists and demoralize the troops, saying once they demoralize the troops, they will be scared to react, and they don't want that to happen. They know that they have been doing a good job, and he wants to encourage them to continue, but then they have to be more careful. Concerning the incident that just happened in Kaduna, Musa described it as an unfortunate claim that the attack was deliberately carried out to wipe out a certain ethnic nationality, adding that they are putting in their best to make sure that they defeat the terrorists, and mistake do happen. So it has nothing to do with a tribe or religion. But anyone who has that kind of thoughts is not being truthful or sincere. That community is a mixture of Christians and Muslims and different ethnic groups. Sometimes when people don't have full information, they tend to react differently. So the Chief of Defense Staff lamented that the proximity of civilians to the terrorists had also slowed down the war against terror, as there were times airstrikes were called off so as not to hurt the civilians. And they had series of times that they have to go off strike because they felt civilians were involved. And he can tell us for free that this operation is prolonged because most times when they go to strike, there are civilians. So they have to avoid striking. On what led to the mistake, he said that the way the villagers move and converge was similar to the style of the terrorists, which misled the army into thinking they were terrorists. So after receiving information on the threat of attack within the general area, they followed up and saw individuals moving just the same way the terrorists moved. And then they went to congregate under a tree, just the way the terrorists do. And from there, they felt it was time for them to act, and they reacted. It was based on intelligence, but he thought that they missed it. So he wants to convey to Nigerians that humans make mistakes, and it's highly regrettable. So they are trying to make amends and avoid such thing to repeat itself again. So they are going to review what has happened and ensure that they are more precise in the future. Musa stressed the unity in the armed forces and the chiefs, adding that there was nothing strange in the army having an aviation arm. The Navy has helicopters, ships, and special forces. The Air Forces has fixed wings, helicopters, and special forces. The Army has special forces, land forces, amphibious forces, and helicopters, including drones. So they are operating jointly and everybody has a role to play. The Army aviation has been established while the Air Forces has its own. The pilots are all well trained and well prepared for the operation. So they just want to remind individuals that it is a war they are fighting here, and as a human beings, they all make mistakes, and this is one of them. So it was not deliberate. What has happened is highly regrettable. They know about, and they try to reassure Nigerians that the armed forces are one big family and there is no infighting whatsoever. So guys, let me know your thoughts, your contributions, your opinions are in the comment section. Once again, thank you all so much for staying tuned with us. We really do appreciate. On this note, we have come to the end of today's segment. Till I come your way next, stay safe guys.